first big hardware upgrade since the release of the iPad mini in 2012. Almost 10 years since its release. Today we're going to check out all the differences and all the use cases for the iPad mini 6. Let's jump into the video. So the iPad mini this year in 2021 is a lot different than the iPad mini 5 and its previous versions all the way up into the release of the iPad mini in 2012. And that is, for the main reason, is because of the hardware upgrade that it's had. So ever since 2012, when the iPad mini came out, it's had this exact same design of a 7.9 inch with some big bezels on the top and bottom. And it's never been treated as something that's been a pro or something that's had a lot of processing power or storage. But in 2021, that has definitely changed with the iPad mini 6. And let's just jump right into all the specs that it has and why this might be a great iPad for you. It shapes a really similar look of what the iPad Air or even the iPad Pro. What's really amazing about this is it has a laminated screen. So what that means basically is when you touch it, there's not a gap in between the glass and the LEDs themselves. So you get a feel that's a lot closer to, like touching paper. It's not like you have a space in between. Now getting on to all the specs with the iPad mini 6, it has that 8.3 inch screen compared to its previous generation 7.9 inch. So with that even bezel, it's a little wider, not as tall. The screen itself has 500 nits, which is good enough, but in 2021 it would have been nice to have like 600 or even, some phones have up to 1,000 nits of brightness, which in the middle of the day in the sun, it helps out a lot, but you won't have any problems being able to see this in the sun. Another great feature is the top fingerprint sensor on the lock button. When you unlock your iPad, you click your finger right there on that lock button and it will scan your fingerprint and unlock the iPad super quick. Another great upgrade and why it's worth it to spend an extra $100 on the iPad mini 6 compared to the 5 is it has the dual speaker system on each side of the iPad, so when you're holding it landscape mode, it's going to give you a really nice rich sound as you're playing games or listening to music or even watching videos. Another great feature a lot of people are happy with is you can connect an Apple Pencil 2, the second generation, to the side magnetically, and it'll even charge that. Here I have an Apple Pencil 2 alternative off of Amazon. I'll link it down in the description. It was only 20 or 30 bucks. And it has all of the features of the Apple Pencil 2, which is over $100. Other than the fact that you don't have the sensitivity of pushing harder or softer on the screen, when you have a marker that, shows when you're writing hard or when you're writing soft, it changes the thickness. That's the only one that doesn't have that pressure sensitivity. Another thing this doesn't have is the wireless charging when you click it onto the side, but it does have magnetic and it's USB Type-C just right on the side. As you might have seen, the volume buttons and the power button or lock button on the side normally is moved over to the top of the iPad mini 6 to make room for the Apple Pencil 2. It's actually really natural when you have the iPad mini 6 sideways because you can have those volume buttons and the power button right there. For the cameras on the iPad mini 6, there's one on the front and the back like previous generation. And with the back one, it's 12 megapixels ultra wide, and the front is also 12 megapixels ultra wide. And what's really nice with that comes to the iPad mini 6 and why I think $100 more this year is worth it is that it does have the center stage. So that basically means if you're moving around the shot or if someone else comes into the frame, the software changes it from, focus on one person to an ultra wide camera to be able to, follow you around as you're FaceTiming or recording videos. So the iPad mini 6 dimensions is 5.3 width and 7.69 inches tall. So it's going to be a great size, a lot bigger than your phone, but also a lot smaller than the iPad 12.9 inch. So it's a nice middleman that you can use for those cases where it's kind of awkward to pull out that big iPad 12.9 inch Pro, but at the same time, your phone isn't quite as enjoyable to watch content on. Another great thing that I'm excited about is the iPad mini 6 finally has USB Type-C for the port for charging. Now, I don't know why they're so excited about this because they are really pushing both sides. They're like, all of our iPads have USB Type-C, but then they make a case for Lightning on their iPhone 12 Pro Plus Max 13, whatever it is. So I really don't get it. They obviously need to switch over to USB Type-C because that's just the way to go. They're saying it's great for the iPad, but then they're saying Lightning's great for the phone. So I don't get it. This has a 5-core GPU, so it's going to give you a lot faster graphics that are going to render on the screen. It's not a faster refresh rate. It only has 60 Hertz refresh rate. Super disappointed about that. It's not 120 or 90 Hertz, which a lot of the devices nowadays do have, but that would have raised the price up even more, so I can see why they kept it at 60. And really 60 Hertz is going to be enough for your average person. Unless you're like a hardcore gamer, 60 Hertz is going to be, you're not even really going to notice frame drops or anything like that if you can keep it running at 60 Hertz. I think having the 5-core GPU is definitely going to give you those 60 Hertz all the time, no matter what game you're using. So another thing I'm really excited about is the 5G cellular version for the iPad mini 6. So basically, you can have 5G data wherever you go when you have the cellular version, basically like you have with your phone, tied to a mobile provider like Verizon, AT&T, or whatever you have. So what is the cellular version? I'll tell you right now, you're not going to be able to use your iPad mini 6 as a standalone cell phone or smartphone. And it's because the iPads do not have cellular voice and text built in. They have the data ability. You can send text and receive phone calls or make FaceTime calls, but you do have to have an iPhone or Android tied to a mobile provider to be able to do that. So some hesitations that people might have are, one, the price. It's gone up $100 from the previous year. And number two, the storage. So this is one thing that a lot of people are mad about is in 2021, a lot of phones and iPads or tablets, they start with 128 or even 256 gigabytes. And phones even go up to 1 terabyte of storage or more with additional space to put in a micro SD card. Another downside that I mentioned before is it does not have a 120 Hertz refresh rate, which means every time the frame changes, it has 60 Hertz per second rather than 120, which is really nice. It makes, when you're scrolling, it goes a lot faster. The iPhone 13 Pro phones do have 120 Hertz. It's adaptive, so when you're scrolling, it's 120 Hertz, and when it slows down and stops, it goes down to 60 Hertz. Another thing that could be a bad thing is the battery life. It's still at 10 hours as the previous generation was, but I think that's pretty good considering it has the A15 Bionic chip and a 5-core GPU. One other thing that some tablets are starting to get in Android is wireless charging. Although Apple devices still don't have this, it would be a nice feature to have. So the iPad mini 6, since I've been using it this last week, I've found that there's a lot of use cases for a smaller form factor compared to a larger 12.9-inch tablet. So if you're on the fence or you just got this iPad mini 6 and you're not really sure like what its uses are, I would say some of my thoughts are you're sitting on the couch and you have your phone and you're scrolling through stuff. But with this bigger form factor, still not as big as a 12.9-inch tablet, you're going to be able to flip this thing out and use it for entertainment or, putting things in your calendar or taking notes. It's going to be a great device that you can take throughout your home and really not have to worry about this huge thing that you're carrying around. Now, if you are a content creator or someone who likes to make things, whether it's videos or pictures and editing those on a device, the iPad mini 6 can be the perfect device for you. Now, why is that? I would say with the power of the A15 Bionic chip in it, as well as if you upgrade to the 256 gigabyte model of storage, it's going to have no problem working with those 4K files that you have for video and moving those around. With the Apple Pencil 2, it's going to be really nice to use that and be able to manage your clips, cut those, move them around. I'm actually going to make a video editing on the iPad mini 6 and I'm going to upload that and show you my initial experience. Now, another one that this might be an obvious one is this is the perfect size for writing notes. With the Apple Pencil 2 that we have now, you're going to be able to actually write notes and put that on the side, take it with you, jot things down as you go throughout the day. And it's going to be the perfect size for you too. You can take it in your car, put it in your purse or your whatever you have, a little satchel. It's going to be something that you're going to pull out of your satchel. You're going to write notes, put it back in, and it's going to be super easy. And speaking of the Apple Pencil 2, I'm going to be uploading another video soon talking about this Apple Pencil 2 alternative. I liked it because it's black and it matches my space gray version of the iPad mini 2. So go ahead and check that out, subscribe, and you'll see that soon. Some other use cases that the Apple event showed off was the iPad mini 6 could actually be used for pilots. Pilots that fly airplanes really like to have an iPad or a tablet with them. They have like all the software built out for pilots. They can be able to see like all the statistics of what's going on when they're flying. So this is a perfect form factor to be able to take that with you as a pilot. Another use case that I could see the iPad mini 6 for is if you work in a restaurant and you need to keep track of people's orders, or even have this be a consumer side where customers come in at a restaurant and they want to order. You can have an app on this. It's a perfect size, like a little mini menu that someone could use to order and have that on your table. Real quick, if you're finding value out of this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And don't forget, those that are going to high school or college, this is going to be perfect for you to be able to have notes throughout the day in your classes and be able to look up things whenever you need to. It's going to be a little bit bigger, so you're not just going to be looking like you're just texting on your phone, but you actually might be doing something productive and you're not going to get yelled at. A few other things that I'm thinking about right now is that you can use the iPad mini 6 for drawing. Those that have artists like sketching, obviously it's going to be a great fit for that as well. I'm most excited to use the iPad mini 6 for video editing. I think with the Apple Pencil 2, well, I have an alternative version, but with the Apple Pencil 2 and having a 256 gigabytes of storage on the iPad, it's going to be great to be able to store files, be able to move those to my MacBook Pro if I needed to. You can record video at the 12 megapixels. It's going to be enough to have good quality video at 1080p. This even shoots 4K 60. So that's really awesome. You can be able to do that with the iPad mini 6. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the iPad mini 6. What do you think the use cases are for it? And who does this appeal to? If you have one, let me know how you use it. Or if you're going to buy one soon, let me know how you're going to use it. In summary, I think the iPad mini 6 is for a lot of people, if not everybody, that wants to have a smaller tablet they can use to take notes or do anything productive with. It's definitely a great device. For the money, I think you're getting a great value, and I'm really excited to have it because it's going to be great for what I do, for coding as well as making videos, having my notes. Be sure to look down in the description for a link to the iPad mini 6 if you're going to buy one. That helps me out a little bit. It's on Amazon, and you might be able to find deals now and then on Amazon for the iPad mini 6. Alright, that'll wrap it up for the iPad mini 6 video of the review of all the specs as well as who this iPad mini 6 is for and all the use cases that it has. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.